Halloween is right around the corner, and if you don't know what to be for Halloween still, this makeup look might be the one for you. The skeleton makeup is easy to do, fun to do, and also a classic timeless look. Starting off, we're going to glue down our eyebrows. Now, you don't have to do this step, but I always tend to do this when I'm using certain types of makeup. So gluing it down, pressing it down with a flat metallic surface like this on the lip gloss here. And as that dries, I'm putting down some primer. This stuff is great, and you really do need a primer for the next makeup that we're going to be using. I'm using some water-activated makeup from this Mehron palette here. You can also use oil or pretty much any foundation that you have that is white. Whatever you have works great, but I tend to use this water-activated stuff. Now, after I have my base down, which I just painted that on, then I'm going in with a makeup sponge, and I'm evening out all of the different lines and strokes that I had before. This is going to just create a nice even surface, and it's going to be easier, along with also just look so much cleaner. Then I'm using this, which is actually white eyeshadow, going over my eyebrows to just pat those in more, along with also blend the cosmetic that is already over it. This is just going to make it look more cohesive and be so much better when I put on the next layer of makeup. Now I'm sketching everything out. What I'm doing is I'm giving myself some angry looking kind of little scrunched eyebrow areas, half circle up at both sides around my eyebrows, and then going around the eyes and mapping out where the painted portion of my eye is going to go. Having a reference up definitely helps, so if you have a reference up of what other people have done for this makeup, definitely do so. Now, these half circles I'm sketching on slightly under my cheekbone, and these are going to extend down, not fully to the jawbone, but just a bit above that. Then I'm drawing some of these lines. I am using some liquid eyeliner for this because it is a thinner line, and I'm following along with just sketching out some of where these teeth are going to go. The teeth that I'm sketching on are pretty rectangular in shape. You could also make them jagged. Then I'm going over all of these smaller lines here with this eyeliner pen, along with also just drawing on some little tiny lines and adding some small bits of detail. This is going to pull everything together more and just add a bit more to this look because it's a pretty simple and easy look. I'm putting these lines around the nose. Keep in mind, the nose is made of little tiny bones and cartilage, so you would see some of these different areas where it does form together. I'm also outlining the nose holes for the nose. Then I'm going back in with some more of this water-activated makeup and filling in where the nose is. I'm using a thin paintbrush for this. Then I'm going around the eyes and I'm painting on where the line work is going to be, filling in a small portion underneath the eyebrow, along with also going over to the other side and doing the same exact thing. Then I'm using a thicker paintbrush to fill in the upper portion here, along with also the bottom portion. The thin brush could work as well too. It just takes so much time to go and fill in stuff with a thinner brush. But after that is painted in, which take your time on this. You don't want to get this into your eye. If you accidentally do, it's just going to make the makeup run. Now switching to the smaller paintbrush, I am going to be adding these lines that extend slightly up more for the teeth. They're going to be slightly rounded at the top. You could again make these jagged, it just depends on what you want to do. Here's a closer shot of what I'm doing. So these are relatively square and then rounded at the top or the bottom, depends on if it's the top tooth or the bottom tooth. As I'm painting these on, I'm trying to go and match the top to the bottom as best as I possibly can. Doesn't have to fully and totally match. And if there's little tiny portions that need to be filled in, fill them in as you go, to just kind of fill in some of that gap that is in between the upper and the bottom. Then we're going to go back over where we had those half circles, fill it in with our paintbrush. I'm also spreading this out too, so it should be darker towards where the line is, a little bit lighter towards where the line is not. And I'm also putting some of these indents for where my forehead is. If you want to, you can stop at this point, but I decided that I was going to use some of this lip stain. So I'm using two different colors. I'm using one that is black and one that is an off gray. And this is going to help to exaggerate some of the shadow here. You could also use some water activated makeup, but this is what I decided I wanted to use just because if I were to be out with this makeup on for a long period of time, I would not want to touch these different parts up again. Now for the lips, I'm using some lip stain in the inner portion. So if I were to be eating with this makeup on, that stuff should be staying there pretty well at this point. I'm also using some of this gray on a little makeup sponge here, and I'm adding some shadow into where the indented areas of this skeleton makeup would be. So around where the temples are, around where the nose area is, around where the cheekbone is. And all in all, this just ends up adding some more depth to the makeup along with also some shadow into different areas. You could also use some eyeshadow instead, but this was just what I decided was going to be easiest for my makeup look to do, along with also blend the easiest with what I already had down. I added some shadow where that half circle area was, finished everything off with using some hairspray in my hair just to slightly slick it back, put on a leather jacket, and there was the final makeup look. This makeup look is so easy for you to do, you'll probably end up getting it done in about 30 to 35 minutes, maybe even quicker depending on what you add to it or what you don't add to it. But happy Halloween! I hope this makeup has been fun for you to do, and I'll see you all in the next one. Alright, bye!